Welcome to PWS United, a podcast for the Prader-Willi syndrome community, brought to you by PWSA USA. This podcast gives the latest news in research, advocacy, and family support by bringing together staff, volunteers, PWS treatment specialists, biotech and pharmaceutical representatives, caregivers, family members, and individuals with PWS. Our goal is to share education, awareness, and resources with those living with PWS and their supporters. Join us in our mission to enhance the quality of life and empower those affected by Prader-Willi syndrome.
Well, hello, Carrie. How was your Thanksgiving?
Hi, Annie. It was really wonderful and full of family and friend time. And I think, realize how badly you need that and crave it in those moments. I think for me, though, I live far from my family, so it's always a little bit bittersweet to not be able to, see them every, holiday. But my husband's family all live really close, so we were able to spend a lot of great time with them. And I actually was given the opportunity to make some of the side dishes and do more this year in terms of helping prepare. And I was really upset with the dishes that I ended up making. So 0 for 1 on that, but
Oh no.
it was really fun.
Like you
Regardless.
didn't like them? You didn't like how they turned out?
I
Oh.
didn't, no.
What
But I'm
dish?
also a very big critic of myself and the things that I present for many people. So
Yeah.
I probably overthought that, but yeah, it was good though.
Okay.
All that to say.
What were the dishes?
we made green bean casserole,
Uh-huh.
which is a staple, and that's pretty easy to do because they give you
Right.
the recipe right on the box. But I tried to do these really fancy Brussels sprouts with like vinaigrette and honey and just this whole thing. And I ate them and I was like, this is awful. And I like apologized immediately.
Oh no.
But everyone's like, oh, they're good. I'm like, you don't have to lie to me. So it is what it is. So not that many things, but more than we normally help with. So
Yeah.
it was nice.
Well, it sounds
though.
good. That sounds
Yeah,
yummy.
I know what to not do next time. That's always helpful as well.
Yeah.
How about you, Annie? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was mellow. It was just me and my husband and our two youngest because our daughter's coming home in a few weeks from school. So it just didn't make sense to pay the money and do the traveling. Um, but yeah, it was really sweet. We just had a nice dinner. The girls and I had made the side dishes the day before. And then instead of a turkey, we did a spiral cut ham, which we all love and is way easier than a turkey.
That sounds so good.
Yeah, it was good. But we went we were out at our place. We drove a couple hours to go to the Blessing of the Fleet, which is something they do here for the start of crab season because my husband's a crab fisherman. And so they have this beautiful, sweet little ceremony on this coastal town up on the overlooking the bay where all the crab boats are. And they have a native elder, and then they have someone from a local church come to do different blessings. The local school, the 4th grade class, they paint each boat, and then the captains get the boat that the kids painted, and it's like a contest in their class. But that's really sweet that every year I have this new picture that a 4th grader has painted of his boat. Yeah. And then the Coast Guard flies over, which is really sweet. They fly really low and they've got the door open. You can see him hanging out, and it's like, whoa.
Oh, fun.
So,
yeah.
So that's always like a fun Thanksgiving thing that we do. But yeah, it was really sweet. It was a nice break. And my family also lives very far away, a couple thousand miles away from me.
Right.
So there is that bittersweet. Yeah, I talked to my mom on Thanksgiving, and my dad's turning 70 here in like a week, and I can't get there for it. And so I had a little bummer mood for a bit, but got over it.
There's definitely, you feel kind of both. I feel like during holidays, you get this kind of sense of joy from being around, your intimate people and just getting to spend like some actual quality time with them, and doing some things. Personally, I love traditions. So anytime I can go back and do, every year something that we did the previous year. I love
Yeah.
it personally. But then it's hard when, people start moving away or you move away and you kind of feel that longing to be, close again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that bittersweet word, I think that hits the nail on the head.
Yep. It does.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So this episode, we are going to go over last week's special edition pulse, which was caring for the caregiver. So this does feel a little appropriate
Yes, very
conversation.
timely.
Yeah. So we chose this topic because November is National Family Caregiver Month. And first off, we want to remind parents and caregivers that you are all doing an amazing job. We know how challenging it can be at times to care for someone with PWS. I have a 13-year-old now with PWS. We only had one minor little meltdown on Thanksgiving, and that was because she wanted to cut the pumpkin pie that she had made. And yes, we do pie at our house. I know not everybody does, and that's okay. Every family does it differently.
Everyone does it different. That's right.
So, yes, so we know how challenging it is. You guys are doing a fantastic job.
Mhm.
And we just want you to know that. And please remember that PWSA is here to support you and your family. So, before we get into the resources that we have in this pulse and that we'll link to in the show notes, this is something that I had never heard of. And so I think it's important for people to hear about the employee assistance programs, the EAP, which is a program that's frequently offered by employers as a service to those who work outside the home. And here's a quote from the U.S. Office of Personnel Management. They say that an employee assistance program is a voluntary work-based program that offers free and confidential assessments, short-term counseling, referrals, and follow-up services to employees who have personal and/or work-related problems. EAPs address a broad and complex body of issues affecting mental and emotional well-being, such as alcohol and other substance abuse, stress, grief, family problems, and psychological disorders. And so, Carrie, you were there when it was brought up in a meeting, work group, and didn't she say maybe they could even pay for like a gym membership or something? Or
Right. Sometimes there is some financial compensation to go with some additional wellness things that you want to include in your life. Yeah, like a gym membership or something for your home that would help you, for example, like a walking pad, something like that.
oh, nice.
Yeah, so there's various things I think that could fall under that bucket for the financial
Hmm.
help as well. Yeah.
What about a wine bar? No,
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be
probably
nice?
not.
Probably not.
Um, yeah, so I just thought that that was really cool. I had never heard of it. So I
Mhm.
wanted to make sure that people knew about it. So if you're interested, definitely ask your employer, or if you have a spouse in the home who works outside the home, they can check and see what kind of EAPs their work offers. And just to give you a little quote from the guy's name is Jack Cornfield, but this is a quote that actually in a meme is often attributed to Buddha. Jack Cornfield wrote a book kind of like Buddha saying. So I'm sure it's something that has circulated.
Right.
Anyway, here's a quote attributed to Jack Cornfield. I'm sure it's been said 1,000 times before, but the quote is, "If your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete." And so that's our message to you all with this episode.
Very important. Yes. Something to sit and really reflect on. That's a good one, Annie. So, the next section of the Pulse, Annie, really focused on respite workers and babysitters. And this was actually an idea from our work group members who said they'd love to see more information put together on respite workers and babysitters for the caregivers of loved ones with PWS. So we took that and ran with it, and they all had some great ideas and really participated as well. So a big shout out to them, and we'll name them in a little bit here. But getting into this section here, sometimes we know exactly what kind of help we need, and that involves having someone else care for our loved one with PWS. This is not always an easily accomplished task. We may not have reliable family members living near us or friends with the time and space to help supervise our loved one while we take some much needed respite. Thankfully, there are programs to help families find respite workers and care providers. These programs vary from state to state, so you'll need to learn the programs that are available to you. A good place to start, though, is with your government funded services office, a local university, or a potentially helpful site, the National Respite Locator Service, which we will link to in our show notes. Finding someone trustworthy to care for our loved one is only part of the challenge, though. We also have to ensure they are well versed in the challenges of PWS and the specific needs of our loved ones. Where to begin and how to successfully impart the necessary information may seem like immovable roadblocks on the path to finding proper health. While we may not be able to list all of the respite service programs in every state, we can provide easy and accessible information to those respite workers and help ease some of the burden. So, Annie, as I mentioned, a lot of our work group members really helped us put this section together. And one of those ways that specifically our member and volunteer Julie Casey helped us was with helping produce a care guide for babysitters and respite workers. So, this packet helps our parents, caregivers, anyone in the PWS community easily create an informative and potentially life saving folder designed for the specific needs of your loved ones living with PWS. And again, a huge thank you to Julie Casey,
Hmm.
who is, again, a PWSA volunteer, a longtime PWSA volunteer. And she is also mom to Ryan, who is living with PWS. She created this resource and is allowing us to share it with the community and put it into like kind of a packet form. So again, we're so grateful to her. And she said that she's used this in her home for a while now and has just found it incredibly successful and helpful. And so we thought, the three of us, that it would be a great document that we could share with everyone. So we will definitely have that linked in our show notes. And I want to also share a little quote that Julie sent as kind of how this has helped her and why she really has found success in it. So this is what Julie had to say. Time alone with your partner is so important. It helps make sure you stay connected to each other and also gives you a break from caring from your child. I held off on respite for a long time and didn't utilize the service until my son was a teen. I wish I had done it sooner because it's so nice to have regular date nights with my husband and we can actually have uninterrupted conversations. One reason I waited so long was because I felt uncomfortable leaving Ryan with other people. So, to help me feel better about that and to make sure his caregivers are prepared, I put together a packet of information. One of my personal passions now is raising awareness for PWS, so the packet also serves that purpose as the contents help educate the provider about PWS, and it gives me peace of mind knowing the right information is there in the event of an emergency. So, again, a big thank you to Julie. I know I've said it a few times, but we literally can't thank her enough. And
Hmm.
then we will have this care guide available for download in the show notes as well.
And just to give people an idea what it is, like the first page is kind of like basic information that you can hang on the fridge when like your babysitter's there. And it's diagnosis, cell phone numbers, Wi-Fi password, the address in case 911 needs to be called. So just kind of main points that they need to know. And then the second page is a little more about your loved one, a little more specifics about some of the things that are specific to them as far as like what you're working on or some things to be aware of.
Some
And
activities they like to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so it's all right there. So to help kind of guide you create your own personal one. And then there's some really relevant brochures and pamphlets from PWSA that are important for anybody to know that is interacting with your loved one. So thank you, Julie. That was a great resource. I'm very excited. I know I talked about it with a few parents and they're all very excited for it.
Oh, good. I'm glad that's the response. That's awesome. And it will be on our website now until the end of time. So
Yep, it's there.
always available. And then another amazing work group member that is on our volunteer team is Lisa Graziano, and she offered to host a webinar that focused on babysitter and care provider training. So that webinar recording is now available for anyone to go and visit, and we will also have a link to that in our show notes. So another big thank you to Lisa for taking the time to do that and imparting her wealth of wisdom on this
Mm,
subject. We are so appreciative.
yes, we are. And the next section that we did, which was a pretty fun one, we reached out to some staff and some volunteers to talk about self-care apps. And I put in the staff chat, what are your favorite self-care apps? And
Mhm.
one person responded, what is a self-care app?
Hmm.
So, so the idea is, something that can help you make better choices or help inspire you to take care of yourself.
Right.
Because, of course, if we neglect to take care of ourselves, then it is far more challenging to take care of our loved ones. So it is important that we do take care of ourselves. So hopefully these apps make it a little bit easier. Although I will say that I asked for apps and we went a little outside of
Hmm.
that in some ways.
Basically, like technology self-care, like
Yeah,
anything self-care that is technology based, I would say.
yeah,
That
absolutely.
you can easily get on your phone or on a computer.
Yep. So the first one we have is a podcast, not ours, but this is hopefully a good self-care app or self-care podcast. But Stacy, our CEO, and Carrie, I meant to Google how to say her name because I should know how to say her name because she is kind of a figure in the PWS world. But I first knew her as Blossom, because that's how old I am. But Mayim Bialik. So she has a podcast called Mayim Bialik's Breakdown. And Stacey says, I love podcasts, and hers is a mix of humor, education, and science. So, yeah, I think podcasts can be great for self care in a variety of ways. There's, of course, probably a lot of self help podcasts out there. Those are not what I listen to, but I do listen to podcasts to kind of just check out or
And
relax.
they offer self-help in other ways, Annie. They just allow our creative pieces of our brain to kind of let loose and enjoy some, for us at least, creepy stories.
Yeah. You know what? My girls are super into it now. Because it's like a 2.5 hour drive to get
Mhm.
out to our place and back to town. And so the last few trips, the girls have been like, can we listen to one of the scary podcasts? And we came back to town last night and it was dark on the road and we were listening to a scary one. And I was like,
Mhm.
yes.
I know, it's so funny how that's actually a self-help thing for me.
Yes.
It just
Even,
allows me to kind of like enjoy. I don't know why. I just enjoy these really creepy stories.
I know,
I'm glad
even
you're on the
though
same
like,
page. You get me.
yeah, I do. I totally do. Even though, like, if I had like blown a tire or something on that road and had to get out and change my tire, I don't know if I would have been able to. I would have been so creeped out. But I always think that. But like, I love to listen to like Bigfoot podcasts when I'm driving
Oh, I
out
love
there
it.
because I live in Bigfoot country. And so I'm like,
Hmm.
maybe.
Maybe.
Yes. So,
I know. Let's just for the fun of it on the podcast subject, give your favorite scary story one, and I'll give mine in case there's anyone listening who also finds self-help in those kind of out there
okay.
podcasts. What's
Okay.
yours?
Oh God, I have a couple. I kind of go back and forth. This is really hard. I love Scared to Death is one of them.
Hmm. Hmm. It's a good one.
But there's like so many that I listen to. I'm like, well, how do I pick? The one I was just listening to, National Park After Dark.
Oh
So
yeah. I like
yeah,
that one
that's a
too.
good one too. But yeah, and more. And I started listening to the one that you mentioned the other day, but I won't say it because maybe you'll say it.
That is totally mine. Yes, Rattled and Shook is my absolute favorite because it similar to what Stacey said about hers, it offers this like comedic relief as well as these kind of spooky, serious stories. But I also love one called Radio Rental that just gives a bunch of serious stories, but also has comedic relief with the guy who played Dwight Schrute in The Office.
Oh
So
my God, that's so funny.
yeah, it's so funny. So those are my two. If anyone out there listening
Okay.
is interested in Annie and I's podcast self care.
Right.
That's me.
Nice. All right. So moving on from podcasts, the next app is Calm. And this is Melanie McDonald, our director of development, mom to Josephine. She suggested this one. And this is a meditation app and it focuses on sleep, stress and anxiety, and mindfulness. She also said that for self-care, she listens to PWS United. So thank you, Melanie.
Go Mel. Yeah, and I think the Calm app is there's at least a free version, so that one's pretty easily accessible. Yeah.
And same with this next one. I actually have this next one, and this was Emily Felt, mom to Olivia and volunteer. So she recommended the Insight Timer. It has guided meditations, plus sound baths, music, yoga, and you can track lots of things, including naps. That's
Oh,
what
that's
that
so
was.
cool.
So I've never thought to track my nap, but
I think if maybe you don't, if you're not like a good night sleeper and take more naps frequently, like it helps count like your actual cumulative sleep
oh,
throughout
oh,
the
nice.
day. That might help.
Okay, that makes sense. I feel like my naps are never planned though. Actually, the most
Yeah.
recent nap I had was a couple weeks ago. I went on a little walk with the girls and we were sitting in the grass and they went off to explore something and they came
Hmm.
back and I had been sleeping sitting up.
Oh, you must have been
They were like,
tired.
"Mom, are you okay?" I was like, "I'm tired." Oh.
Took it out of me. Oh, that's funny,
So,
Annie.
and then Christy Rickenbach, our family support coordinator, shared with us a song called Hard Fought Hallelujah by Brandon Lake. And she said, I like to listen to music. That's what I do to remain calm. This is a new favorite in our house. It has become an anthem.
It really is beautiful.
It is. And
Yeah.
his voice kind of reminds me of Chris Stapleton. So if you're
Oh,
into Chris
yeah, for sure.
Stapleton, like you might like this guy. I mean, I've only listened to this one song, but yeah, that same kind of feel, that voice, that, yeah. So
Hmm.
really beautiful. Do you want to mention yours? Because you're next.
Sure. Aside from my spooky podcast recommendations, I give the recommendation or gave Annie the recommendation for the Peloton app, which unfortunately is not free. But if you're looking for kind of an all-encompassing wellness and fitness one, I highly recommend this. I actually was able to see this year, have used the meditation classes 300 days this year
Wow.
on the Peloton app.
Good
They
job.
are honestly amazing. There's several different people on the Peloton team who do the meditation classes, and there's so many different versions of them or options and topics. So I love the walking one. I'm a big walker, so I'll listen to that as I walk, and it really helps me get into the headspace for those specific meditations. And then there's ones to help you go to sleep, which I'm like out like a light. I could go on, but I think people attribute Peloton to like the bike or the actual
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
workout
That's what I
fitness
was saying with the
equipment that
bike.
they have. Right. But the app actually you can just get separately. You don't have to have the bike or the treadmill or whatever else. They have, again, the meditation I just rave about. My husband was like, maybe we could cut that one out next year. I'm like, no, I need it. So highly, highly recommend.
And then you had recommended another one in there as well. I
Oh,
mentioned.
yes. Thank you, Annie. I missed that one. So, if you're looking for still some meditation guided without wanting to pay for something, there's also a free great meditation app that my husband actually uses every day. It's called Medito, and that one's for mindfulness and stress relief as well. And again, it's free to download and use. So, if you're looking for some guided meditation, that's a great one that he swears by. So, you get them from both me and Steve.
Nice.
Our recommendations.
So the next one is the Kindle app, which Kristen Starkey, she is our accounting clerk. She said, Kindle app to read when I find a quiet moment, and music to squash the loud thoughts when they get too much, which I think
Mm,
we can all relate to that, having those moments when we
absolutely.
need to just get in the car and drive down the highway and just blasting our music
Yep.
or dancing in the kitchen or the living room. That's actually Freya's go-to when she's feeling stressed or anything. Like she says, Can I dance? She always has to ask because she uses the radio in the
Awesome.
living room for some reason, even though I've put a radio in her room. but,
She
but
wants an audience.
she wants an audience, but also she doesn't. I don't know. But that's like her go-to is to like get the music on and just dance. And so I'm grateful for that, that's her thing. But the Kindle app, I use the Kindle as well, and you can get just a ridiculous amount of books. On a side note, I will say the Libby app, Labby, since we're on the subject, for people, I just learned about this year, and it is a free app. It's like attached. It's basically like a digital library.
Right.
So
You
if
have
you
to
have
get a library card though, right?
yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
get a library card. So it goes through your local library or wherever you have a
Hmm.
library card. I have been told, we have a small library, so
Hmm.
like I don't have a lot of options, but there's a lot of romance on there, which is also like a little self-care, which I
Love
don't
it.
like to talk about. But apparently anybody, I don't know, I've been told that you can just go into the San Francisco library and get a card. You don't even have to have an
Hmm.
address. So next time I'm in San Francisco, I might try and do that. So Libby, it's a
Yeah.
free app. So I was trying to pull up this app on my phone because the last one we have is mine, which one of them is Meal Lime. When I'm in the mode of planning out the meals for the week and then going grocery shopping on Sunday, so I'm done grocery shopping, I feel so happy when I do that.
Wow.
Like the rest of the week, even though there's like a couple hours on Sunday where I'm like, this sucks. I don't like this. But
It sets you up for
It sets me up for
success.
the whole week. And
Mhm.
so Meal Lime is great because they have recipes on there and then you choose the recipes that you like. And there's a free version. You can use the free version or for like, I think $3 a month. So like you could do it one time and then download all the recipes and then
Mm.
unsubscribe. I think you can do something like that. But anyway, but they help make your grocery list. You tell them what ingredients you have, and they've got all the recipes there. And so they just create the shopping list for you, which is fantastic. I love that.
That's
So
amazing.
I definitely think people should check that one out. But then I also wanted to include this Workout for Women app because I haven't used it in a long time, but when I was using it, it's great because it's like little 7-minute workouts and there's all different kinds of categories you can focus on and different levels. And it's just really easy. Like, because I think sometimes that when we think about fitness or exercising, it just seems like such a big
To
project or we
do.
gotta have,
Yeah.
yeah, we gotta have so much time. And so this app really makes it easy to do that. 7 minutes.
That's
All right. And my
awesome.
girls love it too. Like Freya was really into it. So
Yeah, get the family involved. That's awesome. Like a little fun
yeah.
activity.
Yeah. So anyway, those are some ideas that can hopefully help you with your self-care. And if you guys want to, when this episode comes out, we'll put it out on social and we would love for you guys to share your favorite self-care app or your favorite creepy podcasts or or they don't have to be creepy, but it'd be fun to have people in the comments when we put this on Instagram and on Facebook. When you see this, just mention in the comments an app that you like to use or a podcast that you like to listen to, something like that to just kind of help give people other ideas for self-care.
Spark that conversation. I love it.
Yeah. And then we also, in this pulse, we wanted to remind you all, but you guys know, of the self-care, self-advocacy, and gratitude episode that we did with Emily Felt. That was a few weeks ago. So if you haven't listened to that, definitely go back and find that episode. And we also shared some blogs that we've written. We've accumulated a growing library of blogs on self-care, mental health, managing stress, things like that. And so we linked to those, and we'll have links to those in the show notes. So if you want to go back and check out those blog posts, there's a lot of really good information and I think some inspiring ideas on how to better take care of yourself.
Yes. And a lot of them have been contributed by additional
Hmm.
community members. So many voices giving many ideas, which is always helpful. And while this special edition Pulse really focuses on November as National Caregiver Month, we also wanted to take the opportunity to share that November is also National Adoption Month. It's a time to draw awareness and support for the caregivers who provide homes, open arms, and unconditional love to children in need of a family. And we are honored to share the stories of two families who have adopted a loved one with PWS. So we want to thank them for telling their stories and for all of the adoptive families in our community, the families who choose to open their homes and their hearts to an individual with PWS. We are truly grateful for you. You choose to be here, and we salute you for it. So the first adoption story is focused on mom Jordan Zach, who is the mother to Sawyer, who is living with PWS, who graciously shared her family's journey to adoption. So after the tragic loss of their son, Jordan and her husband found their way to adoption for the first time. They have been building their support system with other PWS families, recognizing their challenges, appreciating how happy of a child Sawyer is, and have since grown their family. So you can read Jordan's beautiful story about Sawyer and their growing family at the link in our show notes. And really quick, Annie, I had the opportunity to meet Jordan back in
Oh.
April. She actually worked with another mom and a couple other community members in the Ohio area to host a 5K to benefit PWSA. And so I got to meet her and Sawyer and interview Jordan there as well. And it was an amazing event. So not only has she adopted, a loved one with PWS, she also kind of quickly into their journey hosted a fundraising event for PWSA. So
Wow.
I'm in awe of her. She is a fierce mama and she is such, an amazing, amazing person in our community. So thank you, Jordan. You are very loved.
Yeah.
And then our second adoption story is actually highlighted and featured as a recent PWS United podcast episode. So Rachel Azara, the mom of Michael, who is a 6-year-old with PWS, spoke to Stacy about her family's experience in adopting Michael as a baby, what open adoption looks like, and offers advice and suggestions for how families can look into adoption for themselves. The conversation steers around how people can support adoption causes, like donating to local foster care closets, being a respite home worker for infants, and even donating airline miles for things like medical trips. Rachel and Stacy also discuss the challenges of adoption, like the emotional roller coaster and having to invite social workers into your home, how and where to find your people for support, and how Rachel knew Michael was her baby the first time she held him. And you can go and listen to that episode wherever you listen to podcasts, but we will also link to our Podbean URL link in our show notes as well. So thank you to Jordan and Rachel for sharing their stories with us. You are both amazing.
One thing that I wanted to say before I forget is that because we mentioned our communications work group. And
Yes.
so I would love to, if I may, put it out there to the community that it is a volunteer work group. And so if you are interested in joining our communications work group, you can email pwsausa.org. So yeah, go ahead and send me an email and let me know that you're interested. This is where we talk about all things marketing and communications and how are we going to promote certain things and ideas for what we can share with the community and fun ways to celebrate these different awareness months and these different events and all of that stuff. So if you're interested in that, please send me an email and we'll get you on that email list. And we meet monthly and
Mhm.
we'd love to have some more people, maybe some dads. Let's get some dads
Yeah.
involved.
Anyone in the PWS community is welcome.
Yeah,
Um,
siblings, grandparents.
Medical professionals,
Yeah. Yeah.
sky's the limit. Thank you for bringing that up, Annie. And kind of on this subject of self-care, I think a lot of people in our community have expressed, at least in the past, I've heard people say, I would love to be involved in some of the ways that PWSA puts information out, or just ways that they can feel like they're contributing and doing something. So this might be, an avenue for that. And we have many different volunteer groups. So if marketing communications isn't, your perfect niche, we have many other ways to get involved as well. So yeah, please reach out to us.
But you should join marketing and
But also you
communications.
should join us. Shameless plug.
So this last bit is really for the people that are listening on the day that this comes out. So on this day, December 3rd, 2024, this is the Global Day of Giving, and it is your chance to make a life-changing impact for families affected by PWS through our Angel Drive campaign. So on Giving Tuesday, on this day, every dollar you donate will be matched dollar for dollar up to $25,000. So that means that whatever you donate, if you donate $5 today, it's actually $10. If you donate $50, it's actually $100. I'm sure you guys can do the math. So you know what we're getting at. We just really hope that people join in and help support. And our Angel Drive goes till through the end of December.
December.
So you can always donate. Like if you can't donate today, that's okay. You can donate tomorrow and we'll be just as grateful. But if you can participate in Giving Tuesday, what you donate gets matched up to $25,000. So, and you also are still eligible to win. So if you donate by December 15th, including Giving Tuesday, today, you're entered into a drawing to win one of 4 gifts. So either an Apple Watch, a $300 Amazon gift card, a customizable pair of PWS Nike shoes, which are really
Really
cute.
cool.
Yeah, really cool. And then PWSA swag bag. So we'll have links in the show notes and definitely if you can donate, we are so appreciative. And if you can't, we're so appreciative. Like we're glad that you're here
Right.
and you're a part of this community and you're listening to the podcast and sharing with your friends. All of that is helpful. But if you have the financial means to donate, we would love for you to do that.
Yeah, it goes a long way. It really does, especially Giving Tuesday, like you mentioned, Annie, that's a really big match. And we are so appreciative to the anonymous group of donors who are making this possible as well. So thank you to everyone for being involved and for helping us with the Angel Drive campaign this year. It really does help set up and put on all the programs we do the next year. So we are incredibly grateful for the funds given during this time. So happy Giving Tuesday, everyone. And we are going to end with a very special collaborative message from our PWSA USA staff. Take a listen.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you to all current and potential donors. Your support allows families, caregivers, and individuals to benefit from the many programs and support services offered by PWSA USA. None of this is possible without your support. Thank you.
Thank you for your continuous support. Merci pour votre soutien. خالص الامتنان والشكر لدعمكم المستمر. We want to thank our incredible community for supporting us during our 2024 Angel Drive campaign. Your generosity make the work that we do possible and allow us to continue making that meaningful difference. So thank you.
Thank you for supporting PWSA USA.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Thank you for all your support. We appreciate all you do, and we couldn't do it without you. Thank you.
Thank you for your incredible support this Giving Tuesday. Together, we're making a difference for the PWS community.
Thank you so much for supporting the Angel Drive campaign. Your generosity allows PWSA USA to continue providing support, guidance, and hope to families and individuals when they need it most. We couldn't do this without you.
Thank you so much for your support. Muchas gracias por su apoyo.
From our family to yours, thank you so much and happy holidays.
Thank you for listening to this episode of PWS United. If you want to learn more about Prader-Willi syndrome and how PWSA USA is making strides in advocacy, family support, and research, visit www.pwsausa.org. And while you're there, we encourage you to sign up for our Pulse email newsletter to stay informed about the latest news, resources, and events. Don't forget to subscribe to the PWS United podcast so you never miss an episode. Our team is always available to support families and their loved ones living with PWS 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You can call us at 941-312-0400 or email info@pwsausa.org. Catch a new episode next Tuesday, and until then, have a great week.